The origins of Seven Crosses. I lived in Quantox about 20 years ago, and I was looking through a book and I saw a picture of tiny little crosses against a doorpost, and there was 7 of them, and I thought, oh, Seven Crosses, that's a great title. Because I was thinking about trying to make a movie down in Somerset, and there was the 7 sisters and a 7 everything down there. So I thought Seven Crosses, and I thought, well, great title, what are we going to do? So I thought, well, let's start it on the 7th of July 2007. So 777. And I thought, oh, there we go, 777, 7 Crosses. And so I set out to make this movie like Sunset Boulevard, but nah, it didn't come out like that. It came out as one of these murder films. Not quite slasher and not quite horror. So it's kind of suspense, I think. The story starts with Minnie Tucker in the fields and 2 B&B guests arrive. There's nowhere else in the village to stay, and they're the last hope. And Minnie's brother Ernest takes a dislike to this unfortunate couple. And well, the rest you need to watch the film. It's gruesome.
Seven Crosses is about a brother and a sister whose grandparents have died. They've been handed the farm. In the past, the farm has seen foot and mouth disease and it's not handed to them in a very good state. They take over the farm, but they don't know what to do with it. So they open a guest house.
In order to generate some sort of income. So it's perhaps not the nicest place to be a guest in, because they're slightly, well, I don't want to give too much away, but they're not the nicest of hostess to their guests, you know.
And all the guests that come to the farm are murdered by the both of them. The brother and sister are struggling with poverty, madness, and their own relationship, which is quite incestuous. So it's quite a gritty story. But as it says there, they didn't set out to be murderers, but they do become murderers. And my character, Minnie Tucker, is permanently premenstrual, basically. She's very angry, frustrated, she's a control freak, but she does have a warmer side, and I think you see glimpses of that in the film. She cares for her brother Ernest very much, but that care is expressed in a very angry way and a very controlling way, but it comes from at least the attempt to be a good heart and soul, but she's not. And she slowly spirals into madness in the film, so we see her increasingly becoming more insane.
And you know, in terms of playing a psychopath, how does one research that? You know, I suppose, you know, I just sort of went with my instinct, and I mean, you know, it's a horror film. I think the main thing was for me to portray a madman, and hopefully I've done that effectively.
It was fantastic working with Paul. I really enjoyed working with Paul. He's a great guy, and he's a great actor, and he's very sort of method actor, and he creates his bubble around himself sometimes when you're filming on set and off, but it's wonderful when he lets you into that bubble. I felt that we did some good work together, and it was a very memorable experience working with Paul.
Great, yeah, she's I don't think I've ever really met anyone with as much energy as what she's got. She's got great passion for what she does, you know, and you know, so some days, you know, you need other people to motivate you, whether it's, you know, the director or other actors, and she definitely done that, you know. She's a true professional. Well, the preparation for Ernest, well, you know, his character traits are nothing that I've ever really experienced. I think sometimes you play characters and you know, you can sort of tap into certain things that you've, you know, experienced in your life, whether it's, you know, betrayal or love lost or whatever, but Ernest was really, you know, a mixed up boy, so I felt if I could act him and zone into him in a more physical sense, then it would help me. It would help me achieve his character and help me play Ernest. So I tried to make him a bit more geeky and insular, you know, at the end of the day he's a murderer, you know, he's killing all these people.
As far as methods go, I as an actress don't abide by a particular method. When I was at drama school, we were taught many different methods, a bit of Meisner and some Lee Strasberg as well, the method. We experimented with lots of different approaches, and I think at the end of the day, as an actor, it's very handy to do that because you go out into the world with your sort of actor's toolbox and you can pick and choose the tools that you need for the job as and when. So I don't abide by any particular method, but my acting can be informed by various methods. Just before shooting Seven Crosses, I read the book called Acting in Film, something along those lines, that was written by Michael Caine, which was a great read, really interesting. And so I also added a few of Michael Caine's tools to my actor's toolbox and used them, especially in the preparation period for the film, which I found that he gave some very good information about that. And I did feel very prepared when I went onto set. Yes.
Well, it was shot in Somerset in his farmhouse, and if you can go to the farmhouse and go in there and see the bedroom where they slept and then see the hay barn where the first murder was committed, you'd love it.
Working in Somerset was great. I mean, I'd never been down to the west of England, the West Country. It was really lovely place. I mean, it's like such a idyllic countryside, and you know, lovely cider and good cheese. But no, it was amazing, and some of the locations that we were shooting on were fantastic. You know, I think it really helped, you know, make the film. You know, with it such great location.
It was very interesting. It was strange to be in Somerset around a lot of the places I grew up in, but not as myself, as somebody else. But it was a lovely backdrop. I mean, it looks beautiful in the film, and it was wonderful to bring my home county, make it part of the whole film. Yeah. Well, I come from Somerset originally, but I don't really have a classic Somerset accent. But there are many people in Somerset that do. So it was quite easy for me to adapt to the accent because I've just grown up with it in my ears the whole time.
Well, I'd never played any character from the West Country before where I had to talk like that. So I did have to go along for some voice coaching. I worked with a wonderful voice coach called Terry Besson from London. Had a few lessons, coaching sessions with him, and that got me on the road to find the character with the accent.
Incest, I believe it happens. Well, it must happen because the stories come out every now and then. So why wouldn't it happen in Somerset, and why wouldn't it happen in a film that I make?
Yeah, well, it was a bit weird, obviously, you know, to have a crush on your sister, but you know, Ernest is he's not all there. He's a wee bit loopy, you know, and I don't think he's had that much love when he was growing up. So, you know, it's like the sister was the closest thing to him, you know. So he sort of he's tried it on with her whenever he could.
It was fantastic working with Robbie. He's a very efficient director. He gets the whole show running very well. He really looks after everybody and everything on set. He's great fun off set as well, and he's very creative. So it was fantastic to work with him on the movie.
Yeah, I think the cast good. Young Paul Cassidy, who's worked with me 4 films now, I think. Might even be 5. We gave Paul was in his first movie with us. And then of course Suzanne Kendall, who's gone on to be a joint lead with Charlotte Radford in Sisters Groom.
Yes, I play a married man set in Somerset who likes having it off with one of the local girls who's the lead character. He's having an affair with Minnie Tucker, and they own a farm, Minnie and Ernest. I have a sex scene in a car with Minnie Tucker, which was interesting. I think I'll probably have one of those. I think it's one of those scenes where I have you almost like a machine gun bum, in that, you know, I'm constantly penetrating and going up and down and at a fast pace, which was not very good on my hips, put it that way. It took me about 2 weeks to recover from that shoot, but there you go.
Yeah, well, great professional crew, you know. I tend not to socialise too much with the crew and stuff, and you know, it's like when I'm on set, I try to my best to just focus and you know, my objective, which is to try to play the scene effectively. But yeah, they were a great bunch of people, and I'd hopefully work with them again, you know.
There was one instance when we were filming in a muddy, ploughed field, and it was quite an intense scene. Just before this scene, Minnie has lost a man that she really fell for, called Ash, and Ash was murdered by her own brother. So she's heartbroken, and she's also fed up with her brother's crazy behaviour, and she is burying Ash in the field, and she's very upset. She's crying, she's angry. Ernest is there, and she uses the opportunity to shout at Ernest, basically, have a go at him, and she's threatening Ernest, and she says something along the lines of
or even look at me in the wrong way. So help me, Ernest Tucker, I'll go straight to the police. Are we clear? Stick him in the hole!
And the crew just found this absolutely hilarious. The word bum in a Somerset accent for some reason, because they're so grown up. And we had to keep cutting the scene because everybody was laughing, which was quite difficult to do because I was really in the moment with Minnie then. And it was difficult to stay in the moment when there's people erupting in laughter all around you. But, you know, being the professional actress that I am, I managed to stay in the moment, and being the professional crew that they were, they managed to get back onto the job, and we continued filming. But it was quite funny.
I think I've been doing this so long now that I don't know why I get out of bed, why I go to the office, why I write scripts, why I go out and make films, and then why I try to sell them, and why you're watching me on this DVD. But I suppose that's part of the process of getting through life. I enjoyed making Seven Crosses, one of my favourite films to make. It was simple, it was easy, we had a nice flexible crew, lovely cast. We all had a great time. The weather was good to us, it was September, October, and who knows, we should make Seven Crosses more, but maybe that might just be 7 deaths too many. But yeah, I think Seven Crosses is something that, it's one of those little movies you should just sit and watch and enjoy and not analyse it too much, and then just say, yeah,